Hare Krishna, my name is Jvalamukhi Dasi. I am recording in the J File series number 34. It's been many, many months, maybe even a year, probably not, since I recorded an entry. Please forgive me, my dear supporters. And sometimes I get a little bit tired of my own story and just want to live life. So I know that this is very important and that I have to finish it because it has a really beautiful end, because wherever there is great struggle, there is an even greater victory. So, of course, we know that Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's come to give all the living entities an invitation back to the eternal realms, we know that he wins. That's just how it is. But he came to save the most fallen, and the demons who perpetuate satanic ritual abuse are definitely the most fallen. So this is my journey from out of the darkness into the light, Tamasima Jyotirgama. For those of you who are not familiar with the J-File series, I have already recorded about 34 of them. It is the foundation for a book that I'm writing called My Huhu and the Destiny of the Universe, the Golden Age, the Great Sinister Movement, and the Firewalk of a Hare Krishna Kid. So this entry was a very important kind of a turning point for me. And I'll just read it through and then give some commentary on it. But again, I really appreciate all your support, and please forgive me for taking so long to make another entry. I have redoubled my conviction to finish it. Thank you again for all your love and support. Hare Krishna. So one day I got a phone call from a friend who I had shared with about my abuse by Beast. She told me to look at one ISKCON website and sent me a link. I made the grave mistake of clicking on the link and saw, to my absolute horror, his face. He was sitting on the seat of the respected guru, the Vyasa-san, giving class to a few hundred devotees from India. This was the first time I had seen him again since when I was a child, since I saw him in my flashbacks recently. I only glimpsed a millisecond of his ugly face. My hand flew out and I smashed my laptop closed, doubled over in agony, and I let out a gut-wrenching roar. Over and over I screamed until my throat was raw. No, the kids were not home. I was alone, thank God. How was this possible? What was this monster doing up there? Didn't ISKCON leaders know what he had done? Exclamation, exclamation. I found out a few years later that Beast was banned from ISKCON for a short while because of some sex with a 19-year-old boy, and an official proclamation was made sanctioning him while he retired to another continent to continue, like business as usual, out of the sight of the main body of ISKCON members. It was a mere slap on the wrist for an act of so-called consensual sex, signed by some of his guru P's from back in the day. Good old boys club. But now, face to the carpet, stomach in a severe cramp, I literally shook with rage and I bellowed. In my anguish, I called out to Krishna, when will he be held accountable? Ah! I practically screamed this to Supersoul. And in the quiet of the blood rushing past my ears, pounding in my head, doubled over and sobbing, I heard him reply, first you accept accountability. First you accept accountability. Dun dun dun. Whump. I felt all the air leave my lungs as if I had just been slugged in the chest. What? Me? I should accept accountability for what? I couldn't believe what I had just heard the Lord in my heart speak clearly. It stuck in my craw and was as bitter as poison. I was the innocent one here. I was the innocent one. I was the victim. He was the monster. He was the demon still hiding in pretense, waiting to sabotage. He was the monster demon still hiding in pretense, waiting to sabotage the next hapless victim. Why was the Lord of my heart saying this to me? First, you accept accountability. Like it or not, he is God, and I am not. He is the supreme omniscient witness and judge of all of his parts and parcels. He is the knower in all bodies. I am the knower of only my own, well, sort of. As much as I wanted to throw in the towel after that instruction, I knew better. I had promised him, hadn't I? Drat. Okay, you win. Show me myself as I am so that I can accept full accountability for my experiences in this body, in this lifetime, the one I wish to fulfill your offer to do. Show me myself as I am so that I may accept full accountability for my experiences in this lifetime, the one I wish to fully offer to you. It took me a while to come back to the state of poise wherein I could offer this prayer. When I did, I felt the Lord's silent smile, one eyebrow slightly raised in great, profound meaning. You know, when Krishna smiles, he's got this little smile like this. And he has maybe a little eyebrow raised. And when God smiles, many, many things, it has many, many deep, profound meanings. I wondered what that meant. Well, I was about to find out. Here is the letter that I sent to Gurudev, the one who invited Beast to speak and address his congregation. Seems like the Lord's hand is moving quickly. So I wrote a letter to Radhanath Swami, because at that time I considered him my spiritual master. And so here I am, praying to the Lord of my heart, trying to my very best to take karmic accountability for the abuse done by this horrible monster who was sitting on the Vyasa-san in Radhanath's temple in Chowpatty, India. And here I am seeing him addressing all of this congregation who's just soaking it up because they're just innocent devotees. And I had this violent reaction. So I thought, well, what am I going to do about it? I know. Let's write to His Holiness Radhanath Swami. Surely he, with all of his saintliness, will fix this, won't he? Because he's a well-wisher of all the devotees. He's a pure devotee. So let's write to him, and he will be the knight in shining armor and do the right thing, right? Because he loves me and he cares about me. So here we are. Please pardon my sarcasm. Dearest Gurudev, please accept my most humble and loving obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and your divine grace. I am writing to you now with an issue of utmost importance and urgency. I have spoken to you almost every day in the core of my heart and prayed you would hear. I have written letters I have not sent, and now it seems the time has come. I trust you implicitly and love you more than I have ever loved another human being. Please hear me with all seriousness. To get right to the point, a man called Beast Das, I did put his name there, but for the writing, I'm not saying his name out loud. To get right to the point, a man called Beast Das, your so-called godbrother, sexually, physically, emotionally, and spiritually abused me in the severest of sense. It was brought to my attention that he visited your temple in India and was welcomed and given the position of honor of giving class, sitting on the Vyasa-san. Just seeing a glimpse of that man on the internet, his lecture posted and promoted on an ISKCON website, sends me into such a state of anguish that a scream and a gush of tears bursts out of my body, which is shaking all over. I am trying to compose myself just to write this letter to you. I am telling you this because I believe that you care. On the 2002 Parikrama, holy pilgrimage in Vrindavan, You so humbly and with genuine concern approached myself and a friend and inquired if there were anything you could do to improve the parikram. I would always feel embarrassed and reply that it was wonderful and perfect. One day, after you were speaking about the glories of the dust of Vrindavan and all the devotees had just finished eating prasad, there was left what seemed like an instant landfill of all our trash. I told you of my concern about this. The 2,000 devotees who waited on the boats at the shore of the river Yamuna were delayed for at least an hour and a half while you made the senior devotees serving as the parikram organizers clean up the mess. For 2 or 3 days after that, huge trucks with clay cups followed the devotees around to serve their eating needs. I took this as your incredible caring. You cared enough about an insignificant young woman to make such difficult arrangements a reality. You made me feel like I matter. Thank you. Dear Gurudev, I have a humble request. For the last year and a half of my life, I have been re-experiencing 17 years of trauma, buried deep under my conscious awareness. Most of those experiences were arranged by or directly with beast. Well, I have come to some level of forgiveness, seeing the play of my own karma, accepting my suffering as an impetus for deep searching love. I am directed by the Lord in my heart to be an instrument for the cessation of his still grievously sinful purpose and activities. Please have no doubt about this. My request is that you show your soft-hearted compassion to him in prayer for his soul and in no external way have anything more to do with him. Please do not associate with him. Otherwise, you will be implicated, or at least be seen in that way by the many, many second-generation devotees who have had experiences like mine. Also, by offering him external respect in these ways, your followers also are led to treat him in the same way, thus making them vulnerable to his perverse, hidden objectives and abuse. It is appalling to me and many other Gurukulis that he is even allowed to set foot in an ISKCON center, let alone give class, what to speak of be in charge for building what is supposed to be the most important temple in the world. As I see it, all those who allow this are either just plain ignorant of the facts or are similarly inclined. Srila Prabhupada said that there were demons dressed as devotees in our movement. One of my greatest practical realizations from my inner journey is that the demon and devotee are complexly and intricately entwined in the same heart. I am passionately exorcising the demons from my own heart by the Lord's mercy so that I may be of service to help inspire others to do the same. In the case of beast and other perpetrators, it takes much, much more than seeing someone else's inspiring example. It takes being held accountable by all possible sources of power. Even then, many imprisoned pedophiles say, "Don't be too quick to forgive us." This is because they don't change. They don't change. Less than 5% recover from this habit. Please forgive me for being impertinent in my request. You are my spiritual master and know much more than I how to change someone's heart. Please help me to understand your unconditional kind behavior with some devotees who have done wrong. I have felt confused by this. My concern is how, with sincere well wishes, to hold the wrongdoer accountable, thus giving life also to the ones who were hurt. I know now with my eyes and heart, I know now why my eyes and heart were always searching for social justice. In my own search for the little girl that was me, love is tenderness in private and justice in public. I heard this from your talk. As I go about my household duties, my heart often burns with how I will be useful to help bring about a change in our movement. This sickness is so interwoven from the very beginning, but the Lord has answered my prayers and spoken to my heart directly and told me of my part. He said, "The rope has reached its full extension." I was shown that all conflicts would end in unity, and that by Lord Nrsimha Chaitanya's roaring, all the sinful demons, that is, beast and others, would be made to roll on the ground in ecstasy. Now, it is just how to get from here to there. I have full unflinching conviction of my service in this regard and beg that you pray to Krishna for my purity of purpose and empowerment. I pray that your health is good. Thank you for all of your astonishingly successful preaching engagements. I follow them on the computer. You are my hero. I hope you have a speck of your I hope to have a speck of your sincerity and usefulness. Please call me if you want to know more details. I do not want to include specifics of anything in a letter. Devotees have been killed for far less. I wanted to speak to you the last time you visited, but it felt it was not the right time. But now it is. I feel connected to you in my heart, but wish to have more external contact with you. I know that you are busy traveling and preaching. Please keep me in your heart. My difficult journey through my past is not over. Many days I am rendered immobile by the overwhelming feelings that cut at my core. It is my resolution to help my peers as soon as I am whole again. Because of the nature of repressed traumatic memories and the particular circumstances, I have not yet shared any details with my siblings. I want them to arrive at this in their own perfect time and don't want to cause violence upon them by revealing what will be hard for them to accept without first-hand experience in their own healing and prayer. Therefore, please keep what I have communicated to you very confidential for now. This is important. Of course, if you feel to speak to someone you trust, please do. Just be cautioned that many more devotees who still occupy posts of authority were also involved in the abuse. There will be a tendency to cover up and attack the information and my character. Also, I have severed all connection with my father. Please do not speak to him about me. Thank you. Dear Gurudev, whenever I want to run away from this hellish world and crave to experience the spiritual world and feel the Lord's presence, I just hear from you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am ever in your debt. Your aspiring servant, Jvalamukhi, Devi Dasi. I printed out the letter I had spent hours composing, pouring my heart into, censoring my rage and hurt, reaching out respectfully to my Gurudev, the one person I felt sure would help me. He was just like, oh gosh, I can't say his name either. He was just like so-and-so Swami. He protected the devotees. He cared. I firmly believed this back then, back before I knew. I put it in an envelope, carefully sealed it, and gave it to my younger brother, who would be seeing him shortly in India. He hand-delivered this letter to him. Gurudev read it, and he never responded. Not a word, not a letter, nada. A year went by. Other peers and family members spent hours with him on the phone or over marriage issues, because he had called them, or sat on a surfboard in the tropical waters of the islands watching the sun go down together, just the two of them. He had time for so many people. Why didn't he have time for me? This hurt. It really hurt. As an aside, my younger brother began to have emotional recall at one point, up to feelings of suicide. He literally followed Gurudev all around the globe for a whole year, asking for just a few minutes to unburden his confused and hurting heart. Other than a few smiles and empty praises, he gave everyone else time, but would not address my brother's questions about his past and his present state of being. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But still, we held our faith in him. Maybe this was somehow Krishna's arrangement. We just needed to be patient. So here, I want to reflect on the state of initiated devotees within the ISKCON organization. I have, Krishna is very kind to me, and he slowly was revealing the nature of the Great Sinister Movement. It didn't happen all at once. I probably would have just had an aneurysm if I would have understood the level of evil that is from the top down. If I would have really would have understood how the Great Sinister Movement, which is the, I guess there's many names for it, the Cabal, the Mossad, the people you're not allowed to name, how they control the world, how they have infiltrated every single organization, um, private, public, religious, secular, and they have their mechanisms, they have their ways of controlling the minds of others and pushing forward their agenda. So within Srila Prabhupada's organization for spreading Krishna consciousness, they had found, well, there's two things. One is they needed to neutralize the threat of the devotees. They needed to stop Srila Prabhupada from preaching, because the greatest threat to their power, their authority, is the absolute truth, love, right? They're in a state of fear. They want to control through fear. There's souls who identify as demons, atheistic, even though externally many of them practice the religion. You pick a religion, any religion, they externally may practice it, but in their heart of hearts, they don't accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They do not accept, even in its lip service. They think that it's some, I don't know, who knows what they think, but they still practice their demonic religion in the name of whatever it is they're following. So when they infiltrated Srila Prabhupada's organization, I mean, they poisoned him. We know that now for sure. That's been unequivocally proven. And anyone who doesn't accept that just is an ostrich, I guess, with their head in the sand. They don't want to know, because why? It takes courage. It takes courage to be able to have enough faith in Krishna's plan for the world, for yourself, for individuals, to understand that this is the greatest battle of all time. We are at the turning point of history with the golden age, the ushering in of a level of consciousness that the Lord himself has made so many arrangements for the living entities to say, yes, I want to go back home, back to Godhead, right? And because the souls in Kali Yuga are so reticent, they don't want, they just manda sumatayo, right? Bad and lazy for spiritual life. Krishna has made so many arrangements for them to say yes to spiritual life instead of sense gratification. So there are people coming out of the material world. They have found Srila Prabhupada's books. They have found Prasadam. They have found what they think is a spiritual community that they can finally repose their hearts in, right? And they're chanting and they're going to the morning program and they're having so many realizations because Krishna consciousness works. It's a science. The holy name is there. And then they get initiated by their wonderful spiritual master who cares so much about them. Or does he really care about them? Is he just doing the collect disciple thing? We don't really know until the rubber meets the road, until there's actually a request for, hey, I was abused very seriously, severely. What are you going to do about it? No protection. There's no protection. I was just hearing my beautiful teacher, Mahaprabhu, speak about the day that Srila Prabhupada left this planet and how everyone remembers exactly where they were when they heard the news of Srila Prabhupada's departure. And in her case, she was in Gita Nagari, and everyone was very quiet. The women, they were feeding their children silently, but no one was eating. And then when she found out that Srila Prabhupada had left this world, she went up to her quarters and just began to weep. And the grief was that she didn't see how Srila Prabhupada's mission and his mood would go forward, because there were no disciples of his divine grace who had fully imbibed his proper mood to carry forward this mission. And of course, all these years later, we understand that his departure was not an accident. The demons infiltrated the organization, and they've done so much harm, so much havoc. There's many, many more things to say about this, but I wanted to share this letter with you because there's a lot of people who have love for their initiating spiritual masters within the organization. And I believe that probably most of them are actually decent people, but There's a few that aren't. There's a few that are serious, serious Rakshasa man-eating demons. And I've come up with a phrase called compliant, complacent, complicit. If you comply, you know that the abuse of the children has gone on. You know that there's nothing really being done about it. It's being swept under the rug. And you're complacent. That means you don't get up in arms. Srila Prabhupada gave this instruction. Let the words of the spiritual master become one with my heart. We sing every morning, right? Let me not desire anything else. Well, Srila Prabhupada gave you an instruction, my dear disciples of Srila Prabhupada, my dear followers of Srila Prabhupada. He said, find them and kick them out. He said, anyone who abuses a child should be hanged and then beaten, or beaten and then hanged. And of course, that quote by one of his disciples, I think it was Kishori Mataji, Srila Prabhupada had spoken that too. That is just missing from the memories tape. So many things are being edited, being changed, so that the masses don't really understand what's been going on. So I understand that people have a love for their spiritual masters, but unless anyone associated with the organization who poisons Srila Prabhupada, who doesn't stand up for the children, you have to look at things. I mean, if you stay within the organization and you think, let me just do my service, it's okay. Sure, Krishna is receiving your service. Sure, that's a personal relationship with you and the Lord. But if you want to actually preach, what are you going to invite people back to? What are you going to bring them back to? You're going to bring them back to a temple that from the top down has man-eating pedophile demons running it. Or compliant, complacent, complicit individuals who just, I don't know, want their pension. They're afraid that they won't have a way of life if they just speak the truth and get booted out like yours truly. Where's your faith in God? Where's your faith, Mr. Sannyasi? You have to speak the truth. You have to. Because ISKCON, the organization, no longer represents the preaching mission. The preaching mission is in the hearts and the homes of those people who are brave enough to admit to themselves what actually happened and to preach despite. But you can't invite them back to the organization because you're inviting them back to another organized religion, another cabal with a different label on it. Another dogma it has become. See no evil, speak no evil, or else you'll get kicked out or worse. So I encourage anyone who's watching this, you take up the path of Krishna consciousness, read Srila Prabhupada's unedited books, understand what actually took place, and you push this movement forward, and you accept disciples, my dear Srila Prabhupada, direct disciples. This whole Ritvik thing is another, I'll do a whole presentation on that myself. It's coming from the right direction. I definitely, there's love for Srila Prabhupada. But unless you know your enemy, unless you know yourself fully, there's no question of victory. And until you can understand how subtle and insidious the agents of Kali are, that affect our mind, that affect our hearts, that are at work to destroy everything good and godly. Until you understand that, you will be part of it. You will have to be puppeted by it, because that's we're in the water. We're going to get wet. We're in Kali Yuga. We're going to be influenced by it. So we need strong, powerful leaders who are fully purified in their hearts, who can give protection, personal guidance on a daily basis to their constituents, to those who actually want to come out. And I know it's very rare. I know it's very hard. It's easier to pass the buck and say, Srila Prabhupada, you do it. Just like all of the Christians, Jesus, you do it. And then what happens? All of Kali's influences come in and nobody is there to say anything about it, because, it's just between you and Jesus. But the Guru Parampara system has to go on. And it's personal. Even though there may be so many imperfections, the perfection is that arrangement that Krishna has made, and we have to follow it. We have to step up to the plate. We have to protect this mission in the right mood. So I offer all understanding and compassion to those of you who have love for your Guru Devs within ISKCON. And I ask you to bring this question to their lotus feet about the children, about the poisoning of His Divine Grace and see if they are compliant, complicit, complacent, or if they are truly a representative of the greatest general of all time, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, who did not hesitate to carry out the order of his spiritual master, even if he had to start it all over again by himself, traveling across the sea on a boat to bring this great message. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and thank you for listening. My intention is to keep these videos coming and finish it up so we can move on to more fun things. All right. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.